What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I've spent my entire day inside and just chopping down the list of parts I'm going to need for the EF Sedan build, and I got a lot more things on the way. I wasn't planning to come out here today, but I wanted to be a little productive, so I'm here in the garage now with about maybe 45 minutes of daylight left. And what I want to do is I want to fit up the bumper support around the intercooler, since we got that all done and out of the way. And I was just gonna knock it out, but this is going to apply to pretty much the EF guys, gals, and for those who want to retain their bumper support to ensure that their bumpers don't sag once it goes onto the car with a giant intercooler in the front. So this right here is my bumper support. Now, if you have a J front, you're probably not going to have to deal with cutting a lot of this stuff out, because the J front support is a thin piece, which is typically as thin as this top one right here, and you don't really have all this giant bulkiness. So I want to retain my bumper support almost entirely, so I'm going to take my sweet time to measure, cut, and measure this whole entire section out to clear my intercooler. Now, before I actually go and get started, I'm gonna go warm up Project Blueberry, because the car has been sitting there for, I don't know, 3 weeks now, and I need to cycle the engine because it is on E85. Not shabby for E85. I'm gonna let the car sit there and idle for like 15 minutes or so, and then we'll kill it. So by the looks of it, this end tank right here stops after this tab. So we're going to be cutting somewhere there. I like to give a little bit more room so we're not actually touching the intercooler. And then this elbow curves at the curve of the bumper support right there. So we're probably going to end up cutting somewhere like that, maybe. I don't know, somewhere like that, maybe. I'm not sure. But what I need to figure out is this tab right here. This is what keeps the top bar from being flimsy, and the ends already bolt to the support itself, so the ends are okay. The only time I waste a cookie is when I drop the grinder and break the disc. Haha! One cut, baby. That fits perfectly. Grab my light real quick, and I'm gonna bolt the bumper support on to show you guys how close we are without touching. Where's my impact? bumper support bolted on, and look at this. That's probably a 1/4 of an inch between the intercooler core and the cutoff on the support. Measure 1,000 times, guys, cut once, and I'm pretty stoked. How much clearance do we have down here? I can't see it, but about the same. Wow. Okay, so I'm pretty stoked about that. What I am going to do is, we are pretty still structured with the bumper support going across. It's not flimsy, so I might end up just cutting a square in here to get the top core to get airflow. Even though turbo is going to push air here, this is going to be in the bumper grill. That's going to get cooled off, and then it goes up and then into the intercooler. If I can get this to be cooled off too, then that'd be freaking awesome. I don't know why I said it like that, too. Anyways, I'm gonna figure out if I want to put holes here or just cut a big square or 2 big squares. Let's figure that out, and then we'll do the top support, which actually it's pretty structural with just the ends bolted in. So this is what I was talking about. The center of the top support is a little flimsy, but I don't think it's a real big issue because it might sit over the intercooler, and the intercooler is going to keep it from, like, you know, bowing down. So let's fit up this bumper support. So this right here is the spare bumper, and this is actually cut out right here on the top where the intercooler would be sitting. Grill is completely cut out, and the bottom half of it is also trimmed off as well too, right? So I'm fitting it on, and the gap to the filler is actually still the same. So that means the bumper is already seated where it's supposed to be sitting on the bumper support. And if I slide this to the end here real quick, the bumper is already kind of lined up where it's supposed to be, but I still have this gap in the middle. So if you look down here, the bumper is already aligned with the bumper support where it's supposed to be sitting. And that means what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to oval out the holes here in order to bring the bumper support higher to close the gap here. I'm probably gonna hollow the bottom hole because the top one only has a little bit of meat left between the 2 holes. I'm gonna probably have to bore it out maybe 1/2 inch just so we can have some play to go up higher. So guys, we have the bumper entirely installed, and I've been tinkering with it for a little bit, and I got the top support bolted on because we ovaled out the holes, we pushed the support up, we got that top beam to clear the intercooler, and now the bumper can be secured to that. We don't have to modify or cut anything. The bumper doesn't have the brackets on yet, but you can see if I push up on the bumper, and then if I had the mounting tabs here, this will sit nice and flush. And this is centered because you can see the hole in the middle there is lined up as well to the support. And then on this end over here, if I just push up on the bumper as well, this should line up nice and flush as well too. So super stoked that we didn't have to cut the bumper up at all to fit the intercooler, and it's nice and symmetrical, which is what I wanted. It would have bothered me a lot if it wasn't. You can see the bar plate right there. Where is it at? The bar plate right here is perfectly straight, symmetrical, and aligned with the other side. So I'm super stoked. What I want to do right now before I close up, because it's super cold, super dark, and I really can't feel my hands, I want to cut the grill here. You can see where the intercooler core stops right there, as well as here, and I want to line it up and put 2 squares evenly, not one long square. I'm just going to cut 2 square evenly just to open up this. This will allow me to mark the support in the back, and then tomorrow I'll cut the support so that way we can have openings to let air go through on the top half of the core. So I'm super stoked about that. And also in part of tomorrow, I'll figure something out with a T-bracket because I have to bend it right there since we can't go in front of the intercooler to bolt it up to the lower lower support. I bent it so we can put the T-bracket on, and what I want to do is I want to modify it up here and then probably weld the tab off the intercooler so that this can bolt too, so that this is nice and stabilized for every time we close the hood. So right now I'm gonna snap some photos and then I'll pull the bumper off, and then we'll make these cuts right here. Between the inner license plate hole, we are at about 7 inches, and in half would be 3.5. 3.5 would be somewhere there, and probably gonna put about a 2-inch gap between each square. So that's gonna be there and there. So that would be straight down, straight down. I can either use a Dremel or get away with a really sharp razor blade, but I will tell you guys that this is dangerous. But I'm gonna use the razor blade. This is the first cut. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one. That's the second one. So now we got our little grill cut out. You can see that the grill does not look out of place because it is squared like the rest of them down here, and the license plate is going to be covering up most of it anyways. But yeah, more flow to the intercooler hopefully gives enough flow to the radiator so we don't go overheating. I do have a radiator on order. We're going to test fit the radiator and you know, make sure everything's all good with tabs and fitment before we pull everything out for the paint in the engine bay. So now I'm going to put this back on, center up that hole, and then we'll mark this on the core support. I want to show you guys one more time as well. The second support for the bumper itself is bolted in place, unmodified, and it's going to work perfectly to secure the bumper itself so it doesn't move around. So it didn't even occur to me that the bumper support itself doesn't even come up to the lip. So the support itself is actually about 2.5 inches inward. So I got this giant gap. So that means, because the support is not up front, that means I'm gonna cut a much larger hole on the support, so that way when air gets in, it's gonna hit as much of the core itself as possible. Ugh, wait, why don't you come out? Okay, there we go. So like I said, I'm gonna end up cutting more of the support, so that way we get more airflow to all of the core that's behind the bar, because the intercooler does come up this high right here. So we have the bumper support modded and the bumper is back on. You can see we have the intercooler core right there on the inside. Cut a full rectangle out so that the top portion of the intercooler is exposed, and we should have some really good airflow going through that. So I'm pretty stoked about it. What I want to get into next is, like I mentioned, is making a tab to secure the T-bracket in place, so that way every time the hood closes, this doesn't go moving downward. Instead, it's going to be bolted, so that way it's nice and firm. Hood gaps and everything should be the same. When wind goes in and drafts the front of the car, the hood doesn't like flop up or anything, because this is going to be secured. So let me figure out a game plan real quick. This whole entire thing needs to come back out, and then we'll make up some tabs to secure the two together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it straight across right there, and I'm going to make a L bracket on top of the intercooler that's going to go and bolt up right here. So that's what I'm going to do. I wonder why this is painted a different color. This is definitely not the original T-bar, because when I took it off the first time, it does say SH5 right there, which is a wagon, and this is a lighter color blue like the wagon opposed to the sedan, and this actually matches my brother's wagon over there. So I'm kind of curious if this car has been in an accident before. Guys, I am super stoked that this is now secured and nice and firm. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bumper onto the support and secure it down with the hardware, and then test fit it one more time, bolt it through the bumper lamp hole, and I think that's going to be it for this video. So let's get that on the car. I'm super stoked, guys. The bumper is back on, and with it secured, it is now sitting a lot more flush than it was earlier, and it's only going to sit a little more flush once we get the sides all bolted up. I still don't have the bracketry right here, so if you look, that'll sit nice and flush. This is aftermarket. It doesn't fit right. You can see how it's kind of sticking out right there. It does bother me a little bit. I will be on the hunt for a 9091 OEM filler, but for right now, we're just going to deal with it. This side, same thing. Once you bolt it up, it should sit flush. I'm also stoked that because we didn't cut the grill for the intercooler, you guys probably saw I was able to secure the 10 mils on the bottom so that this does not come off. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Lights are not going on because bumper is going to come back out once everything is fitted and everything comes out for the bay paint. But man, I am super stoked that this bumper came out freaking super sleeper, and that's like kind of the goal with this car, to be an all-wheel drive monster for the streets but look like a sleeper. It would be crazy if I had literally the hubcaps just sitting on it, but this car is going to go 5 lug, and I'm actually on the hunt for USDM ITR 5 lug wheels, Type R's, in the gunmetal color. But I'll take CTR and stuff and get it powder coat or whatever. I want this thing to be stock body on the outside on 5 lug ITR conversion. That is the image that I'm looking for, and hopefully we achieve that. I am going to wrap up the video right here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the update on the EF Sedan build. A lot of parts are coming in, and I'm super stoked. I got a lot more in my notepad of things to buy still, and I'm kind of like scratching my neck to like just pull the trigger on everything. But in due time, all of it will come through. Just know that at the end of the day, progress is better than no progress. So if you guys enjoyed this video, man, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for more progress update on the car, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.